All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Website Development 1111 .NET Framework with Web Databases course, I am going through this series of articles, chapters, whatever, from DotNetOdyessy that's called ASP.NET MVC5 Free Course. So far I've gone through Chapter 1, which was our high-level overview, Chapter 2, where we created our first MVC project, Chapter 3, Views and Razors, Chapter 4, Layout, Chapter 5, Model, and Chapter 6, Entity Framework. I'm now smack dab in the middle of Chapter 7, and I've discussed CSS, but it's time to move over and talk about Bootstrap. All right? Bootstrap, as mentioned right there, is a popular front-end framework. So it's used on the client side, right? That you can apply to your web pages to make them look much more professional. It's free, it's open source. It used to be called Twitter Bootstrap because it was created by two gentlemen who worked for Twitter. It is even included in many of the project templates of ASP.NET MVC. You can extend Bootstrap and customize it according to your needs. All right. The author says here, the instructions for downloading and using Bootstrap are given here, but I'll reiterate it again. It says first download it. Well, let's just go to getbootstrap.com. Okay. There are quite a few different ways that you can do the download, just so you know. So I'm going to click download. And it says, what do you want? The compiled CSS and JavaScript files only? The source files? Do you want to not download it at all, but just have a content delivery network or a URL to where you can grab it on the internet? Do you want to use the Node Package Manager or Yarn, Ruby Gems, Composer, NuGet? Notice, that might be one we're going to look at. Okay. But what it says here is, click the big download button. It will download a zip file. Okay, well, it's changed a little bit since then. And it says we only want these files. So what I'm going to do is come over here, and I'm going to go up to, down to, compile CSS and JS. Click download. All right, that gives me this dist folder. And I'm going to take it from where it is, right mouse click on it, drag it into my desktop, and tell it to extract on the desktop. All right, and on the desktop, I will have this dist folder here, Bootstrap 4.3.1-dist. There it is. And what do we want from here? From the CSS, we only need a couple of these files, the Bootstrap CSS, and I think for this lesson, the Bootstrap theme. All right, it'll tell us what it is in just a second. And from the JavaScript, we'll need the Bootstrap.js. Let's double check and make sure we're grabbing the right files. Bootstrap min CSS, theme min CSS, and theme min JS. Says we are to copy them to a folder and create a new file. Okay, that's fine. In fact, let's go and create a new folder right under our desktop. And we'll just call this new folder Bootstrap Demo. Okay, not the greatest name, but it'll do. And then let's come in here and do a couple things. First, although we don't have to do it this way, they probably don't even show it in the example, but I'm going to create a CSS folder, and I'm going to create a JS folder, and I'm going to come in and create a new file that's called index.html. It'll beep and say, yeah, you're changing the extension. Yes, I want to. All right. So with that stuff here, let me go back to where I was, which was, well, I'll tell you what, we'll do it from here. First, we'll take the bootstrap.min.js file and we'll copy that into our JS folder. Double check. There it is. And then in our CSS folder, we will copy in bootstrap min CSS. And while I'm looking, it doesn't look like they have the theme here anymore that I see, at least. I'm not sure if we need anything else from here, but let's grab the grid just in case. All right, now we've got that. All right. So I copied the files over. I have the following content in sample.html. Well, let's just grab the authors. And instead of putting it in the sample, let's put it into, close a bunch of this stuff up. We'll put it into here. All right. Now, I'm just one that I'm not nuts about all this white space, so I'm getting rid of some of it. Just to make it a little easier to read, that's all. We'll put a little bit of white space in here. Now, it says here bootstrap min CSS, but we put it into our CSS folder. All right. We put the bootstrap min JS into our JS folder. Okay. This, we're using what's called a CDN, or a content delivery network, to grab that from the internet, and that's a really old version, 1.11.2. So let's do this. Let's come in here and say jQuery CDN. And we want the one for the newest. Okay. I want the CDN. We'll use the minified, and it says we can grab this. There's a bunch of stuff that's in there for security reasons. I'm not going to go over that right now. All right. Okay, so we now have all this. All right, that jumps us into our body. Says this is my first HTML page using Bootstrap. Okay, my guess is that when we run this, it won't look much different, so we haven't put really anything in there. So there it is. Okay, no biggie right there. It says there's a few things in here that need to be explained. Not really, not for us. Doc type statement, HTML tag, language attribute, Unicode character set, fix in there to make you use Edge when possible, mobile first or responsive, the title, the fact that we're using this spreadsheet, or I'm sorry, this CSS file, and that we're using these two files. In fact, again, jQuery, you should double check and make sure it does. That jQuery should come before the Bootstrap min.js, and it does. All right, so don't want to get off on too big a tangent here. We're already at 10 minutes, so let's see how much of this we can finish here. Yeah, it does. It says, right now you might wonder, what did we use Bootstrap for? All right, it says the reason we have not yet used any functionalities, or we have not yet used any functionalities as we go along, it says you'll love Bootstrap for its capabilities. Trust me, there's a reason why it's the most popular framework. But one thing about it, and this is in my humble opinion, using this is not as easy as they make it out to be. It's like anything else that you use. In order to become proficient at it, you've got to practice, practice, practice. Bootstrap uses a grid system where the magical thing that's in here is 12s. All right. In other words, all of your rows, the columns in there must add up to 12. 6 and 6, 12. 4, 4, 4, 12. 3, 3, 3, 3, 12. They can be of different sizes. In this example, they're not. But they can easily be of different sizes. So you could have a 5, a 4, and a 3, an 11 and a 1, etc. All right, totally legit. Whoop, I guess I missed one. So let's put this in. Again, try to pretty it up just a tad here. You all know that it's not mandatory that you do what I'm doing right now. However, by setting it up like this, where we have our stuff that's in here tabbed over, it sure makes it much easier to see what goes with what. All right? And I've said this to you before, do this any way you want to do it, but come up with a way of doing it that makes sense to you. Come up with a standard, and as much as you possibly can, adhere to that standard. You'll be much better off if you do. Trying to figure out where this one goes. And I'm wondering here, let's see, div. See, I even go nutser than what they show here. This is how I do it, so I can see exactly what lines up with what. You may agree with this, you may disagree, but now I know exactly what's lined up with what here. Sorry to waste your time doing this, or if you think I'm wasting your time doing it, but again, if I'm going to ask that you do things like this, and I realize this is establishing your own style, how can I not do it and then expect you to do it? All right. I think we have one too many divs in there. Let's run it. Okay, so there's 2 columns, 6 each, 3 columns, 4 each. Okay, 3, as you can see, 4 columns, 3 wide each, etc. Now, probably to make this a little nicer, could have just taken advantage, not that you have to do this, you're not told to, but we could have come in here at the beginning and just put a BR tag in here. Put it right there, that's fine. This was never in a paragraph, that would have made it much easier. All right. Makes it a little easier to read. I guess I needed even more there, but you can see exactly what I'm talking about. All right. There we go. Okay. Move ahead. All headings from H1 to H6 are available in here. Again, this isn't new stuff. All right. This should look like this when we get done. And I'll tell you what, while we do this, why don't we come in and after we finish something up, let's comment it out. I think it'd be a little faster to just copy these. Right, now that we've done that, we should be able to get rid of all these. And you can see. All right. Text alignment, as they say, here are paragraphs that are aligned. And again, I'm doing this just for completeness sake. Did we have to do this? Of course we didn't. But we should have a left aligned paragraph. Now that is redundant to do that because it's left justified by default. So we wouldn't have to put that in. However, for the centered paragraph and the right aligned paragraph, we must add those because, as just mentioned, they're not the default. So as you can see, left, center, and right aligned. Tables, you can use the table class for styling tables. Not every option is shown in here. All right, ideally when we get done, it's going to look like this. This, to me, one reason I'm going over this and one reason I actually like this section here is the only way to learn this is to sit and practice like this. Play with it, whatever you want to say. But that's what you should be doing to learn how to use it. All right. Table rows, which we know are made up of either headers or table headers or table data. So there will be our headers, and here will be our data. I think that's wrong. I think there's more, these are old population figures, but who cares? So we'll have, yeah, I'm pretty sure they are. We've got New York, we've got Los Angeles, and we have Chicago. Now, the good news is what you can see here is literally, as the saying goes, right out of the box without us having to put anything in there except class equal table. So let's run this, and you can see what you get. Now, to further emphasize that's bolded and you get the lines here, let's just grab the class equal table and remove that. All right, and we'll come back and we will run this again. So you can see how much nicer just out of the box you get. You get a lot of styling put in there. And to really show it, go from here to here. All right, just by adding the class equal table. Forms, as mentioned right here. Oh boy, I'm way over. Let's stop right here. We'll pick it up, finish it up in the next lesson.